Welcome to Cosmic Conversations, the podcast where spirituality meets real life. I'm Siobhan, your host, aka the Cosmic Coach, and this is a space where we are going to explore the layers of what make us truly who we are. There's going to be a series of solo episodes along with some incredible guests, a space where we can truly discuss the universe within us all. Who am I? Honestly, I feel like it's quite a daunting question, and to be honest, I don't even know why, because it kind of feels like when I'm telling you who I am, it feels like I almost have to sell myself or hook you or reel you in. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I feel like, when it comes to describing ourselves and who we are, it's almost like, oh, I want this person to like my answer. Almost. I don't know if anyone will relate to that, but I was sitting here thinking, what am I going to say? And then I'm like, no, you know what? I just need to speak my truth. So it's just a quick little who am I? And I suppose some of you may know me as the Cosmic Coach on Instagram. So my name is Siobhan. I am 27. I'm Irish, as you can probably tell from the accent. Not that there'll probably be anyone else listening to this that's not from Ireland, but maybe there is, you never know. And I suppose, I am someone who, I'm a spiritual person, okay? Spirituality is a big part of who I am. And I suppose, you could say it was always kind of part of my life. I suppose I would have said, back when I was 21 or 22, that I was awake, spiritually awake. When that was a phrase and everyone was like, are you woke? Are you awake? And I was like, yeah, I'm awake. But I don't actually think I was awake until I went through certain things and I'm like, oh god damn, I really got to shed this past version of me and blah blah blah. Some of which I'll be getting into in this episode and some of which in later episodes. But yeah, I'm someone who's just always been spiritually curious and I've always felt that connection to something deeper. So yeah, I would say my big spiritual awakening came, honestly, I want to say 2022. 2021 is when I started. 2022 and 2023 for me were the whoa years. But I'm also a Gemini, and you're probably like, oh my god, she's identifying as her horoscope. But I feel like it explains the type of person I am. People probably explain me as someone who's chatty. I definitely am chatty. Again, the Gemini, we love to chat. We're very social. But I think as well, if you think about Gemini, we're very mutable. And the thing that I can relate with a lot with this sign is that we can adapt to kind of wherever we are. And the way I explained it to my friend a few weeks ago was if I'm with a group of people who are chefs, I will find something to talk about chefs and that career and stuff. If I'm with a group of people that are into BMXing, skateboarding, I'll find something to talk to them about. And I suppose that's why Geminis kind of get a bad rep, because it's kind of oh, they're fake, they're two-faced, but it's not. It's actually it's not. We're actually just quite mutable, guys. We're able to just adapt to our environment and fit in and chat to someone. And so, funnily enough, that was, I suppose, a good thing growing up. I was always quite confident to chat to people. I always had a good group of friends in school, and yeah, thankfully I had a good experience with my confidence and making friends. However, I found that being a Gemini and being adaptable, I didn't really have a sense of self. I wasn't actually sure what I liked, if that makes sense. And I guess when we're younger, we just kind of do what our friends are doing. We go out to the same place every weekend, we wear the same clothes, we talk about the same things. And that's a big part of growing up, I think. And I'm so grateful for the experience that I had. But I think, I went through then a couple of years ago, a long-term breakup that I was with throughout, my whole teenage and early adult years. So when that happened, I was kind of hang on a minute, who am I? And I suppose that's a natural thing that we go through too, whether we're in a relationship or not. But for me, it really did, I had to really get to know myself for the first time in my life, I feel. And I thought I knew myself. I suppose within, I knew my morals, I knew my values, but I was very much just fitting in. I was very much just going with the flow, going with what those around me are doing. And it's so true what they say, you become is it the 7 people that you spend most of your time with? is who you become. So your vibe attracts your tribe creates your vibe. That makes sense. So yeah, I went through a whole kind of, phase then in 2021 of being like, okay, who the hell am I? Things are changing in my life. I'm also someone who comes from, I don't even know if I want to say it like this. So my parents split up when I was younger. So I am someone who comes from, going through a family splitting up. And I definitely think I need to talk about that because like that is part of who I am. Because I felt, I suppose I would be described like by my parents as like someone who's very headstrong, very independent, and they kind of always said to me, oh, we don't have to worry about you, like we never had to worry about you, like you're just grand, you're great, like you keep going. And it's funny enough because like through therapy, through counselling, I realised that that's actually, it was like a defence mechanism or like a protection mechanism that I actually became like really independent. But not even that, it was more so like I felt like I had to be the fixer. So I almost became like a third parent when I was like 15, 16. And I know my brother would probably, agree with that too, that I was very much like, where are you going? What are you doing? You have to do this and you have to do that. And looking back, I was probably the biggest pain in the ass. But I definitely took on a role of like a third parent. And so I feel like a lot of that made me grow up very quickly. And ironically, as I'm older now, I'm learning to kind of go back to like that younger version of me and let her kind of express parts of herself that maybe she just, didn't, because I felt like I had to be an adult. I felt like I had to be mature and have my shit together. And I was, I was working from when I was like 15. I had a job, 15 or 16, I think it was 16. I was working, I was, paying for all my own things. I was driving when I was 17. So I was very much like, I got this, I can do this. But we all know when we're hyper independent, and yeah, that's usually a front, and it was, guys. And I'm learning that. I'm unlearning. But yeah, that was kind of me growing up. And then I suppose now I still am very much like, I would be quite independent, but ironically my partner probably listens to this and be like, what? Because I love like to have support. Basically, I'm very much more in my feminine energy now than maybe I was years ago. Like years ago, I was very much my masculine, like I'll do it myself, I'll do all of this, I'll carry all the bags, I'll organize everything, I'll organize the flights, everything. And that was fine. And to be honest, it taught me a lot. And I'm glad that I had that quality. However, I was too much in my masculine years ago. And now, only in like recent years, I've allowed myself to come more into my feminine energy. I'm able to kind of relax more, let myself be nurtured, and allow myself to be cared for too, which is really nice. And so that's been a whole other part of my journey too. But I suppose the big thing is, identifying with my star sign, and then I went into talking about feminine and masculine energy there too. Maybe I'll do an episode on star signs, horoscopes, and zodiac signs, or even masculine and feminine energy. So let me know if you're interested in that. So I have been through it when it comes to life and spiritual awakenings, some of which I will go in depth and talk about. But look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've been through some shit. I've experienced heartbreak. I've experienced, grieving people. I've experienced losing friendships, feeling isolated, lonely. I've experienced shock. Like I've experienced a lot in my last few years, ironically in the most recent years of my life. And why am I telling you this? The reason I'm telling you this is because the one thing that I have found that has really, really gotten me through all of those things, like whether it's people coming and going, experiencing like really like traumatic events in the last while, family breakdown, all of that. I have found, honestly, it's going to probably sound crazy to some of you guys, but the one thing that I have found that helps me is self-love. And that started for me in 2023 when I first read an incredible book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I'll probably mention it 500,000 times in these podcasts because it really is a part of my life that I look back on and think, okay, everything has changed now. Like there was before I read that book and after. And self-love has become something for me that I feel it ripples into everything. And so through a process of learning to love myself, becoming more awake, learning to trust my intuition was a big thing for me too, like trusting my gut and being unapologetically myself. Like honestly, I'm embarrassed to say how much time I spent not being authentically myself. And so now I feel like I'm at a place where I can just be me. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there's days where I feel insecure, there's days where I feel bad about myself, I question myself, I doubt myself, but I just have to reconnect back in with that sense of self, back in with my why, back in with my purpose, and tune back into my authenticity. And yeah, so why am I here? I'm here to share that with you guys. I'm here to share my journey, my experiences, and also just to talk about the things that I'm interested in along the way, the things that have helped me, like I mentioned, learning about my zodiac sign, learning about attachment styles, learning about, the brain and the effects of meditation. And I'm also missing a massive piece, because not only did I study law for 4 years, I graduated in 2020, I think, or 2021. Oh God, I can't remember. But I graduated anyway, and then I got pregnant, had my son. And as anyone who has kids knows, your life completely changes, your priorities change when you have kids, and it did. And I decided this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life, because it's not going to make me happy. And so I like to say that life coaching found me at a time that I needed it. I was in counselling for a long time, and then when I found life coaching, it was a new phase of my life, and I did my course. It was absolutely incredible, and now I'm a life coach. And through life coaching and through my counselling, it was an incredible counsellor that I have recommended me to do angelic energy healing. And so I went and did a course in that. Angelic energy healing is very like Reiki. I feel like Reiki is more recognized, so it's the same thing. It's just a different modality, different techniques. And so yeah, I found that. So now I am a life coach, an angelic energy healer. I also am a Pilates instructor, I'm at Pilates, and I'm a mother. I'm a mother, I'm a partner, I'm a sister, a daughter, a friend, and I ultimately am just here to connect to people, to understand what it is that gets us through the hardships in life, how we can make the most of our life, how we can enjoy our life, and how we can just be present on this journey of life. And that might sound really deep, but it's true. That's just my passion. My passion is people and connecting and helping people along their own journey. And so, if you would like to listen to some podcast episodes where I will be exploring different topics on different areas like self-help, different things I've mentioned, personal development, spirituality, healing, even motherhood, then please do stick around, because there will be new episodes every single week, and I would love for you to listen, maybe learn something new, and also give me some feedback on what it is that you want to hear. So yeah, I suppose this podcast is here as a place for people to come and to listen, and ultimately I just want to help others while in the process of still helping myself. I'm still on my journey, but helping those around me understand and realize that the answers that we need are within us. They really are. Tuning into our authenticity, our gut, our sense of self, and giving ourselves love. And so that's my purpose. I want to discuss the universe within us, all of the answers, all of the secrets, all of the places that we have yet to explore within us, our own healing capabilities, because we are all healers. We're all manifestors. This is a place to unlock that. This is a place to dig deeper. And so if you fancy listening along on my journey while you're on your own, then please tune in every week. There will be new episodes every Tuesday. And I'm so grateful to any of you who are listening right now. Honestly, thank you for spending the time. And I really hope that maybe you consider spending more time with me in the future as new episodes come out. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. Thank you for tuning into Cosmic Conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, then please let me know. Maybe consider leaving a 5-star review or a comment on what you thought. I'd love to hear suggestions and feedback on any topics you'd like me to explore or unpack, or maybe a guest that you'd like me to have on so I can pick their brain. If you have a cosmic confession or a dilemma that you'd like me to explore next week, then please send it my way on Instagram at Cosmic Conversations Pod, or email thecosmiccoach.ie@gmail.com. Thank you, and see you next week.